23, Brady with a pick six. But Michael Thomas, who you figure to be a big player in that game yesterday, almost non-existent. Does that mean you should cut him? Absolutely not. Does that mean you should trade him? Absolutely not. He's going to make up for it. But it just shows how in fantasy football, just like baseball, sometimes it's the unpredictable that happens. So let's look at some more stars from yesterday. Did you catch that Panther game with the Raiders? 17-15 was the halftime score. And in the second half, the score was the same, 17-15 again. Raiders win 34-30. It was a 4th and 1 for the Panthers late in the game. McCaffrey had been dealing. I mean, really, McCaffrey had been dealing. Every time he got the ball, it was a positive gain. 4th and 1, they give the ball to the fullback. The Raiders stop it. They take control of the ball. The game is over. The Raiders travel cross-country to Carolina yesterday and win 34-30. A big part of that is Josh Jacobs. 3 rushing touchdowns, 93 rushing yards, 46 receiving yards. And if you're an owner of Josh Jacobs this year, you got to be licking those chops. What a great game for the Oakland Raider great. Another quarterback. We're going to talk about 3 quarterbacks in a row here. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Kyler Murray. All fantasy studs yesterday. Josh Allen, I think, who is better in fantasy than in reality. 312 passing yards. It was Allen's first career passing day over 300 yards. He had 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. I also told you we'd talk about Lamar Jackson for Baltimore. Lamar Jackson yesterday in his game. Let me see here. I lost my place on my screen. Just one second. I'm sorry. Lamar Jackson had 3 passing touchdowns yesterday, 275 passing yards, and 45 rushing yards. And then, of course, Kyler Murray, second-year QB for the Arizona Cardinals. And if you're a Cardinals fan, you had to love the way they played yesterday, winning the game 24-20 at San Francisco. Remember, San Francisco, the defending NFC champs. And the Arizona Cardinals beat them. Kyler Murray, a big reason why. 230 passing yards, 91 rushing yards. To go along with that, a rushing touchdown for Kyler Murray. Now let's talk about some wide receivers. Calvin Ridley for Atlanta. Yesterday the Falcons had 3 100-yard receivers. Calvin Ridley leading the bunch with 130 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns on 9 receptions. Adam Thielen in the 34-43 loss to Green Bay had 2 touchdowns receiving, 110 yards on 6 receptions. Looking at some more, let's see. I was looking for another wide receiver. I'll tell you what, let's go. Well, DeAndre Hopkins for Arizona. Kyler Murray throwing to him. 14 receptions, 151 yards, and 1. He had a tackle yesterday. How about that? You don't usually see DeAndre Hopkins get a solo tackle, but he picked up 1 fantasy point if you do defense in your leagues for a solo tackle yesterday. Way to go. Now, running backs, a few there that I think we need to talk about. Christian McCaffrey for the Panthers, 2 rushing touchdowns, 96 rushing yards, 38 receiving yards in their loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. Elliott Ezekiel for Dallas. Dallas loses last night. Did you watch that game? Near the end of the game, Dallas has the ball. Approximately a 50-yard pass from Prescott to his wide receiver. And if you watch Gallup running down the field being defended, both players are going at it a little bit. Gallup makes the catch. Gallup gets called for offensive interference, bringing the play back. All of the announcers, including this one, say it was a bogus call, bad call, shouldn't have been a call, should have been a catch. And if you're a Gallup owner like I am, not that I would be partial here, But you lose about 5.5 points because you lose a 50-yard catch. And if you're in a half point or full point PPR, you lose either another half point or a full point. Huge. Again, Chris Collinsworth, calling the game, said it shouldn't have been a call. Others today on Twitter have said it shouldn't have been a call. I say it wasn't a call. I'm not even a Cowboys fan. I'm a Raiders fan. Big Raiders fan. Kenny Stabler, Biletnikoff, Casper. I mean, the whole crowd. I see number 28, Josh Jacobs, yesterday. I think of Clarence Davis. That's how far back I go. Big game yesterday. Let's talk about a few more before we get off the air today. We got some games tonight I want to go over with you for just a little bit. Ezekiel Elliott, again, 96 yards rushing, a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown. Malcolm Brown for the Rams, 2 receiving touchdowns, 79 yards rushing, and 31 yards receiving. Now, if you're looking at yesterday at a possible dark horse going forward, how about I throw these at you? 2 wide receivers. Robbie Anderson for Carolina. 6 receptions, 115 receiving yards, and a touchdown. And then Jamison Crowder for the Jets at Buffalo yesterday. 7 receptions, 115 receiving yards, and a touchdown. Here's a really, in a deep league, another player that I'm high on. I want to share him with you this morning. And I watched the flow of the game yesterday. I watched the San Francisco-Arizona game. And Garoppolo, I don't know if he doesn't have a wide receiver. I don't know if he just despises throwing to them. I don't know if there was a life threat on him yesterday, if he did throw to his wide receivers. But whatever it was, he doesn't like throwing to his wide receivers. At least he doesn't do it. Yesterday in the first half, he threw to Greg Kittle, his all-pro tight end. Second half, Kittle had no catches, although he played the entire second half. But a player who in my league scored 11.90 points, Jerick McKinnon. Write that name down, Jerick McKinnon. He had 3 rushes for 24 yards, but he had 5 targets, 3 receptions, 20 yards catching, and a receiving touchdown. Why is he significant? Well, first of all, he was to be the starting tailback, RB1 in San Francisco in 2018, and he got a season-ending injury. He's back now. He has received raving reviews from his head coach. So, yesterday with 8:38 to go in the final quarter, so that means he's playing late. Garoppolo hit him for the go-ahead touchdown. Now, both Raheem Mostert, the starting tailback, and McKinnon have been featured in the passing game. Remember, they were without Deebo Samuel. But it's notable that Coach Kyle Shanahan called for the play to go to McKinnon. And McKinnon also out-touched Tevin Coleman yesterday. Now, I granted that Mostert is the workhorse following one game. But McKinnon should continue to provide just enough value. He may be a good matchup starter. He may be good at the flex position in deeper leagues. I'm in a 14-team league. There's no meat on the bone. And in 14-team leagues, if Jerick McKinnon is there, you should go get him. So tonight, the early game tonight features the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh playing against the New York Giants. If I have to pick a go-to player tonight, it would have to be James Conner for the Pittsburgh Steelers. His head coach, I'm quoting him now, this is head coach Tomlin. Mike Tomlin said, quote, "There is no question about who our bell cow is," end of quote. Quoting again, it's James Conner, and he's our primary toter. There you go, end of quote. Toter. So, if he's going to be the primary toter, and he's the bell cow, then I got to go with James Conner tonight against a less than stellar Steeler defense. Not only does Conner run the ball, he's healthy, and he catches passes, and he scores touchdowns. And so if there is a player tonight that I like in game one above any other, it would have to be James Conner for the Steelers. Again, Steelers-Giants, 7:10 p.m. tonight. The second game, later game, features the Broncos against the Tennessee Titans in Denver. And in this game, here's a little sneaky pick. I like Ryan Tannehill. I really do. I think Tannehill, the last time Denver played Tennessee, Denver totally focused on shutting down the running game of the Titans and did a fairly good job of it. I could see Tennessee coming out tonight, throwing the ball on early downs, and that would benefit Tannehill. I think it could also catch Denver off guard a little bit. Denver's defense is without their best player. So my surprise pick tonight is Tennessee going into Denver, putting up some points, and beating the Broncos at the Mile High Stadium. There you go. Here's what we're going to do on Tuesday. We're going to talk about those two games. We'll talk about some more too. We'll talk about baseball. The season's dwindling down. A lot of double headers today. A lot to go through tomorrow on where do we go from here. Right? Alan Parsons project. Anyway, I'll be back with you tomorrow. Everybody have a great Monday. And let's see. Remember, first pitch today is at 4:05. Tonight's NFL game start at 7:10. And I'll be seeing you tomorrow right here on Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports.